If you are thinking about a move to the Pittsburgh area, then this video is for you. If you've started your research, you've probably discovered neighborhoods like Squirrel Hill, Shadyside. So in today's video, we are neither talking about communities inside the city of Pittsburgh or even inside of Allegheny County. I am featuring communities that are just outside of Allegheny County. There are 4 bordering counties of Butler County, Westmoreland County, Washington County, and Beaver County. And I'll feature one community in each of those counties that you might consider could be a great place for you to end up. And I'll feature a 5th community as a bonus. So stay tuned for that. I think this one has tons of upsides, sort of my dark horse pick to be a community with so much potential. So let's talk briefly about why somebody might not want to live in the city of Pittsburgh or might not want to live in Allegheny County. Well, one, maybe the convenience of being close to the city center is just not a priority. If you're commuting downtown on a daily basis, if you're in those outlying communities, it's going to be obviously a little further. Maybe that's not a requirement of what you're looking for. Another reason why a lot of people might consider living outside of Allegheny County, of course, is because of property taxes. That is a constant theme on my channel, is talking about Allegheny County, and most of the communities in there, but not all, do have higher than average property taxes, probably compared to a lot of the communities you're coming from. But when you leave Allegheny County, generally the county, school district, and municipal property taxes, those rates are lower when you leave Allegheny County. So we'll talk about a few of those communities where you could get that benefit. Now, the other thing that all of these communities I'm going to feature in this video have in common is they are very strong suburban districts. You might think that if you're leaving Allegheny County, maybe you're not going to have that suburban feel. Maybe you're not going to feel like you're in the Pittsburgh metro area, but I promise you these areas are right on the border. And so they have a lot of the benefits of the communities that are inside Allegheny County right along the border, but they're just on the other side. And so you're still going to get a very strong school district with great reputations, and you're going to have all the retail and amenity benefits that living in those Allegheny County communities also have. Just for reference, I think it's important to point out that the population in the Pittsburgh region, if you look at Allegheny County, has a population of approximately 1.25 million residents. And then going to the north, you have Butler County with a population of 200,000 residents. And you have Westmoreland County to the east, and that has a population of 350,000 residents. And then to the south is Washington County with a population of 210,000 residents. And finally, to the west is Beaver County with a population of 170,000 residents. Hi, my name is Mark McClinchie, and this is my YouTube channel, Mark Knows Pittsburgh. I started this back in 2020, and I have specialized with out-of-state homebuyers ever since. I have assisted with hundreds of families moving to the Pittsburgh area, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce them to so many of the neighborhoods and school districts that Pittsburgh has to offer. And we work really hard to make sure that they understand what their options are and what are the places that are going to be the best fit. So if you are thinking about a move to the Pittsburgh area and you want to learn more and you want to learn about the neighborhoods and the communities, please give me a call, send me a text, or send me an email. We can set up a free consultation and figure out what your needs are and design a plan to get you started on making your way to the Pittsburgh area. So the first area I want to feature is up in Butler County. Just on the other side of the county line, we have the municipality of Seven Fields. Seven Fields sits right along the Route 228 corridor. It's one of the newer municipalities. It was actually created in the early 1980s. It is not a very big area. We're talking less than 1 square mile. There are roughly 3,000 residents in Seven Fields, but it is an absolutely fantastic community. It gets rave reviews from my clients. It's sort of a, kind of a hidden gem. So Seven Fields is a prime location, and you got a straight shot into downtown with very little congestion, no tunnels. Some of the reasons why my clients and the people that I know that live in Seven Fields absolutely love it is really because of that suburban feel. There's a lot of newer subdivisions. It's exactly what they're looking for. They have sidewalks and it's pretty walkable, and there are plenty of retail and stores nearby. A lot of folks love living in Seven Fields because the homes are generally on the newer side, and newer homes equals less maintenance. So these homes are easier to take care of. You're not dealing with old house problems. You know, Seven Fields really does have a tight-knit community feel. People feel very safe there. It's a very clean area. There is access to parks and playgrounds throughout the community. And the final reason that people always tell me how much they love living in Seven Fields is due to the school district. Seven Fields is part of the Seneca Valley School District, and it has rave reviews where they've really dealt with the huge increases in population to the Cranberry area, and the district has grown very significantly over the past few decades. And they've handled that growth really well. They have top-notch facilities, they have built new schools, and all the residents that I know that live there, that send their kids there, have been really happy with their experience in the Seneca Valley schools. Let's discuss why Seven Fields might not be the best fit for you. And for me, I would definitely want to point out that the traffic and the congestion along Route 228, it's sort of, you know, it has all the amenities and all the businesses, which make it super convenient, but that also brings a lot of traffic and a lot of congestion. So if you are thinking about buying a home or a property in the Seven Fields community, here's what you can expect. Most of the housing stock there are single family standalone homes, but there are a number of townhome developments. There are even several patio home developments. So you do have some wide choices there. Most of the homes built within the past 20 to 30 years. You're not seeing a lot of older stock there. It's essentially a newer community, especially for the Pittsburgh area. And so you're gonna see a lot of the single family homes. You can expect those to be priced somewhere in the 4s, 5s, maybe even 6s in some cases for some of those bigger homes. Just a quick statistic to share with you. In the last 12 months, there were 16 single family homes sold in the Seven Fields area, and they were at a median sales price of $575,000. Seven Fields is definitely a very competitive and high demand area, which can be a challenge on the front end when you're buying, but it also is very good while you own your home as the equity builds in that home. And if you do go to resell it, you shouldn't have a problem. You should gain a lot of equity in your home and have no issues selling. So let's flip sides on Allegheny County. We'll go down to the south. Washington County, and the community we're going to feature is North Strabane Township. North Strabane sits just off of I-79, and it is south of Peters Township. Fairly large geographic area. We're talking about 25 square mile area. There are 16,000 residents of North Strabane Township. It's a fairly fast growing area, but at the same time, when you're driving through North Strabane, I think why a lot of people like it, and I know I like the feel when I'm driving through there, it feels very rural. So let's get into some of the reasons why people love living in North Strabane. Some of it is the proximity. It is easily accessible to all the major highways. It's also accessible to all of the businesses up and down the 19 corridor. Another big draw that people like North Strabane Township is how close it is to South Point. South Point is a major business park, one of the biggest ones outside of the city center, and that draws in a lot of employees for different corporate headquarters. And so people, you know, want a short commute and have a suburban commute rather than coming into the downtown area. South Point does have a very large amount of office space, so a lot of workers there choose to live nearby in a community like North Strabane. Another reason people really do enjoy living in North Strabane is just the amount of property, amount of land that most lots are. You don't see very many lots that are super tightly packed together, particularly some of the newer plans. You see a lot larger lot sizes there than I see in a lot of other communities throughout the Pittsburgh region. There are older homes that were built in the 50s, 60s. Some of those are a little more densely packed and have smaller lots, but that gives you a variety of price points and a variety of housing inventory that might appeal to a wide range of buyers. Another great amenity for residents of North Strabane Township is the proximity to the Tanger outlets, which are right down south and super accessible to anybody living in the North Strabane area. You also have the Meadows Casino that is right there, that is very popular, attracts a lot of people to that. And you also have the Montour Trail. There are multiple parks throughout North Strabane Township, North Strabane Township Park. And finally, as I mentioned before, North Strabane is part of the Cannon-McMillan School District. And again, rave reviews for the people that have sent their kids to Cannon-McMillan. Westmoreland. Everyone that I know that lives there has been really happy with the school district. I think they have also done a smart job of dealing with the growth that they've experienced. So as far as a note of caution with North Strabane, if you go and look at all 5 of the communities I'm featuring in this video, it's definitely the furthest away mileage-wise. Depending on what part of North Strabane, you're probably looking at 30 miles to downtown Pittsburgh. So if you are thinking about a place to live, but you need a daily commute to downtown Pittsburgh, it's definitely going to be on the longer side. So if you've heard enough that North Strabane might be a place you're considering buying a home, what you can expect, as I mentioned earlier, is a wide range of homes. So quick statistic about the real estate market in North Strabane Township. In the last 12 months, there were 135 homes sold, and that was at a median sales price of $450,000. They range from a low of $100,000 all the way up to $1 million. So quite a big range there. And I think you'll find that if you look at some of the top premier suburban communities throughout the Pittsburgh region, North Strabane is going to be on the lower side of the median sales price. So if you're trying to, get the most for your dollar, take a look at North Strabane Township. So speaking of communities that might be a good fit for you, I want to take a quick moment to point out down in the description is a link to my free Pittsburgh relocation guide. So just a little different format. I know these videos are great. A lot of you find them super, super helpful, but trying a different format where I have a guide set up with 25 plus pages in there, all about the amenities of the Pittsburgh region. So you can talk about the food scene and the parks and recreation and all the different things that make living in the Pittsburgh area so great. And then at the end of the guide, I also do a community by community breakdown of each community that are the most popular ones with my clients that I get requested the most often. So I put some basic stats about those communities, about the schools in those areas. I give a list of why people love living there. So be sure to click that link and download my free relocation guide to learn more about living in the Pittsburgh area. So next, we're going to go out east to Westmoreland County, and we're going to talk about the municipality of Murraysville. So Murraysville sits along the Route 22 corridor. It is just east of Monroeville. So it's definitely a super popular community, probably the most popular community in Westmoreland County, the #1 ranked suburban community by Pittsburgh Magazine. So don't take my word for it. Pittsburgh Magazine, if you go down to the link, you can actually still access that article. Keep in mind, it's a little bit aged, but nonetheless, the information is still valid. Murraysville is a fairly large geographic area, approximately 25 square miles, and there are 20,000 residents of Murraysville. When I talk with the clients that I've moved to the Murraysville area, some of the reasons they've chose it is because they weren't downtown commuters. You're also, as I've mentioned before, this is going to be true of all the outlying counties, your property taxes are, in most cases going to be lower than they would be if you were inside Allegheny County. Another popular reason that people love living in the Murraysville area is the school district. So Murraysville is part of the Franklin Regional School District. It includes multiple municipalities, but most of those are fairly small. But Murraysville is the bulk of the district, takes up most of the population, but super high ranking school district with a great reputation. People are super happy. People love being close to Monroeville. Monroeville is obviously one of the major retail centers, certainly of the eastern suburbs. Driving through Murraysville is great because there's a few main roads, but a lot of times there's back roads and you don't really see a ton of traffic through there. And so all of the subdivisions are kind of off of some of those back roads or main roads, but you really do get a nice rural feel out there, but yet you're still in an extremely strong suburban community. My note of caution, really, it's about the commute, that if you're going into downtown Pittsburgh, so if you're traveling the Parkway East to go through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, you're just gonna hit a lot of congestion. So they're upgrading the Parkway East, but it is a challenge. So it's one of the roads, again, as a real estate agent, I'm driving all throughout the Pittsburgh region. And so I'm going through tunnels and over bridges every single day. And generally, Pittsburgh traffic is really pretty minimal. I mean, let's be honest. If you're coming from a city with real traffic, you're coming from a Philadelphia or Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York City, those places have real traffic. All the whining and crying you hear about Pittsburgh traffic, maybe myself myself included. It's really not that bad. Okay, so if you are thinking about buying a home in the Murraysville area, what you can expect is a wide range of options. Murraysville does appeal to a wide range of prices and budgets. There's a lot of different housing options in there, from homes that are, sort of quote unquote starter homes that you might find a ranch home that is pretty reasonable and affordable, all the way up to large estate homes, well above $1 million, well above 4,000 square feet. So there's quite a difference in between there. So basically Murraysville is accessible to all budgets and all interests. Quick statistic for you, there's been a lot of real estate activity in Murraysville, partly because it is a fairly large geographic area. But in the last 12 months, there were 180 homes sold at a median sales price of $410,000. Half of the homes, of course, above that 410, half of the homes below that. So quite a variety of homes at a lot of price points. So Murraysville is definitely an area that, regardless of your budget or regardless of what type of home you're looking for, if you're thinking about a community that has a strong school district and is a strong suburban community that has lower taxes than Allegheny County, you might want to take a look at the Murraysville area. And next, we're gonna move over to Beaver County. And we're gonna talk about one of the most popular communities just on the other side of the Allegheny County line, and that is Hopewell Township. Hopewell sits northwest of downtown, about 20 to 25 miles. So great community. One of the unique parts of Hopewell Township is that, yes, it is definitely a suburban area that people, you can commute into downtown Pittsburgh pretty easily, hence the suburban community. But it also has its own dynamic and its own feel. When you're out in Beaver County, you don't automatically feel like you're in a Pittsburgh suburb. You kind of feel like you're in your own little area. Hopewell Township has a population of 13,000 residents. When I talk to people that have chosen to move to Hopewell Township and ask them why they chose or why they love living there, it's often around affordability. They're definitely getting more for their money. They're also getting lower property taxes. So Hopewell Township does a nice job of keeping things affordable, and you still have a very strong school district with the Hopewell area schools. One of the things I will point out as a note of caution, the home ownership seems to be much longer. There's not a lot of turnover over there. So when homes do go up for sale, chances are, in my experience, it's homeowners that have owned the property for many, many years. And in some cases, they've taken really good care for it and they've done a lot of updates and homes are sort of move-in ready. But that feels like the exception. I run into a lot of homes in the area that feel like they need a lot of updates, and they sometimes have a decent amount of maintenance issues or deferred maintenance issues. That's going to be true for any area. So again, I don't want to pick on Hopewell, but that has been my experience, though, that a lot of homes that are for sale have had the same homeowner for, a long time. And sometimes those homes have not been updated and kept up to date. In the last 12 months, the median sales price in Hopewell was $230,000. And that was for 150 homes that were sold in that time period. It's probably the lowest of any neighboring community that touches Allegheny County. So Hopewell Township might be the right fit for you. So we are at my final community that I'm gonna feature, and I hope you have stuck around to find out which one it is. So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and kind of get away from that suburban feel. I'm choosing the next community based on what I think will grow the most in the next 10 to 15 years. So that community is the city of Ambridge, which is also located in Beaver County. It sits right along the Ohio River, and it's kind of an older town. You have these older manufacturing communities that all were vibrant and thriving and just amazing places 50, 60, 70 years ago. And then, of course, the manufacturing and the steel mills completely collapsed the entire Pittsburgh economy. In some places bounced back pretty quickly, but it's those towns right along the rivers that have really, faced just tremendous economic challenges to rebuild themselves. Some have done better than others, and I would say Ambridge is attempting to do that. And I think it has, in the Pittsburgh area, it has a negative connotation. I think there's probably going to be people in the comments of this video who are going to say a lot of negative things about Ambridge, and I think that's a shame. Again, people are entitled to their own experience, but I hope it is just that. I hope it's coming from experience and not just some prejudicial, comment about things that they've heard about a reputation or a bias that isn't actually true. There are 6,000 residents of Ambridge. Ambridge was much higher, definitely decades ago. But I think that's going to change. I think it is growing, and perhaps, you know, as you learn about Ambridge, it might be a place that you consider moving to. So I've been in Ambridge many, many times. It feels like a really vibrant community. I've had a number of people that have bought homes in Ambridge, and you might be shocked at just the affordability of the city of Ambridge. So I do think its best days are ahead of it. If you were to invest in a property in Ambridge, I think Ambridge, we're going to talk about Ambridge 10 years from now, and it's going to be a totally different community. And one of the reasons why people love living in the Ambridge area is, you know, just that sense of history and the character. You know, Ambridge is one of those, it's definitely anything but cookie cutter in there. And you sort of get that small town walkability that is really hard to find. A quick statistic about the real estate market for the last 12 months, there were 55 homes that were sold in Ambridge at a median sales price of $125,000. So you're going to be hard pressed to find any community in the Pittsburgh region where you can get a median sales price of $125,000. So tremendous upside with Ambridge. Take a look. Let me know what you think about Ambridge. Please follow up with me if you have additional questions. Would love to give you more information about that area. So if you are thinking about a place where you don't need to be super close to the city center, maybe you want to save a few dollars on property taxes or a lot of dollars in some cases, and you just want, you know, affordability is top of mind, but you don't want to compromise on having a strong school district. You don't want to compromise on having a suburban community that still has great access to, you know, business and retail and parks and outdoor opportunities. So there really are some advantages that people might find attractive to leaving Allegheny County and finding some of those neighboring suburban communities that it's sort of the best of all worlds. But at the end of the day, if you're thinking about a move to the Pittsburgh region, it's really about finding out what are the best places that would be a good fit for you. You do need someone with local expertise that'll tell you what it's like to live in that area. What are the commutes like? What's daily living like? So to give you that information, it really comes down to finding what are the communities that are the right fit for you. And so hopefully this video has helped you discover some of that. And I certainly would love to work with you further. Please reach out. We can set up a call. Thanks for watching and welcome to Pittsburgh.